What's up, the squad? Back with another video. As y'all seen the titles going down. Make sure y'all hit the like button, hit the subscribe button for me. Please, y'all see it right here. So, y'all have here, this is, and y'all know, again, President Trump is always on the move. Obviously, you have, Chuck Schumer saying much about it. But before we get into that, this is, President Trump. This is President Trump in Malaysia. Literally on the move. If you look up President Trump, you actually see him, doing things. You actually see him doing things, but you got him here dancing in Malaysia right now, making this post. Just leaving Malaysia, a great and very vibrant country. Signed major trade and rare earth deals, and yesterday, most importantly, signed the peace treaty between Thailand and Cambodia. No war. Millions of lives saved. Such an honor to have gotten this done. Now off to Japan. So as y'all see, President Trump is on the move. Yes, it is, the shutdown going on. But one thing about it, and what I can't stand, that people do is to sit there and talk crazy. I mean, one thing about it is that he's not the last president, President Biden. There's no shade, but I can tell y'all right now, it wasn't a lot. It wasn't a lot getting done. Wasn't a lot of moving around. If it was, Biden moving around, he was at the beach. So as y'all see, President Trump is currently, always on the move. I actually just seen a post of him, having a meeting. He's literally been having meetings and everything, on the plane. So I mean, it explains a lot. It truly explains a lot, y'all. I'm telling y'all. Says here, Chuck Schumer fumes that President Trump does his job as a president and meets with foreign leaders in Asia, while Chuck insists on keeping the government closed. Check out Chuck Schumer.
5 days away. Starting this Saturday, tens of millions of Americans face the specter of financial crisis, all while Donald Trump is dancing on the tarmac in Malaysia. Donald Trump may be having a nice time abroad, but people here at home are dreading open enrollment. Insurance plans that cost $300 or $400 a month will suddenly cost $2,000 a month or more, because Republicans prefer to shut the government down over working with Democrats to extend the ACA tax credits. Consequently, the average ACA plan is set to more than double starting next year. The average 60-year-old couple making $85,000 a year will soon have to pay an extra $22,000 or more just to have health insurance.
All because of Chuck Schumer, basically is what he's saying. So mind you, it's up to Chuck Schumer whether the government reopens, and the people know this. Everybody knows this by now. I'm letting everybody know that everybody knows. I'm telling y'all, one thing about it is that I didn't know it was such a crime or so negative that President Trump was dancing or, in good spirits, about things that he's doing. This is something that is amazing to me, that he has been going to different places, and making things happen and doing things. I don't know about y'all, but I definitely love the simple fact that President Trump is doing what a lot. And when I say a lot, people don't believe me when I say this, and a lot do. But this truly is literally the best president that I've ever seen. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I'm not just saying that. This is literally, you actually see somebody that's doing something. I'm tired of people opening their mouth. I bet not hear nobody open up their mouth about Joe Biden. People talking about, Obama. I hear that. I hear that from my family members all the time. Obama was, things that I seen, and I wasn't, obviously, when Obama was president and stuff, like, I didn't see President Obama, doing too much. I wasn't, into it, as much. But now, me looking back and like seeing things that he's done, the things that he created, and although everybody has, those, you have pros and cons, but seeing on how many, like, a lot of cons. It's a lot of things. Says here, Senate Democrats just blocked our 13th vote to reopen the federal government and end the Schumer shutdown. Same 3 Dems voted with us: Fetterman, Cortez, and King. Pretty wild, ain't it? I'm telling y'all. It says here, and remember this. Remember that I told y'all, because when we get closer to the end of the video, I'm gonna tell y'all why I said this and why I put this information in this link in. It says, remember that Republican senators have voted 12 times to fund SNAP. Democrat senators have voted 12 times to not fund SNAP. Remember I said this, y'all. Remember I said that. But you got here, Tim Burchett, explaining, more on that. Check it out.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett, little Jenny Lingenfelter, heading into the office, chief of staff. I've got this big bus clunking beside us here. Hey, heading into the office, nothing's changed, phones are ringing, trying to help constituents. The problem we got right now, of course, is Schumer. All he's got to do is allow his Democrats to go to the floor and vote to open the government. We already passed it in the House. It just stinks. People's SNAPs, which is food stamps, 40 million people in the state of Tennessee. Imagine the state of Tennessee is around 8 million population, 5 times the population of the state of Tennessee. And they're going to cut those folks off because they won't vote. I voted to open the government. I voted to pay for SNAP. The Republicans in the Senate all voted to do that, with the exception of, I think, one. It's all on Schumer right now. This has nothing to do with anything other than power, and it's gross, and it stinks. Schumer and the Democrats ought to be ashamed of themselves. I'd suggest, if I was talking to some of the U.S. senators, they need to get out from behind Schumer's skirt and come out. The public realizes what's going on. This is a power grab by him, nothing more, just to save face with his far left base, so they can fund a bunch of crazy liberal programs, and then they won't. And then in turn, they're not going to allow. They're holding the poor people who are literally going to go without food, holding them hostage. Shame on the Democrats in the U.S. Senate. It's a pitiful situation. I'm Tim Burchett. Thank y'all for seeing me here.
One thing about it is that it's definitely sad. It's definitely sad, individuals not getting paid. Obviously, individuals that, will be off of SNAP. And I actually looked, there are a lot of foreigners, that's on SNAP as well. We'll get more into that, later. But when I tell y'all that it is completely insane that they're doing this and that they want to keep on yelling and saying, oh, well, the Republicans, they don't want to talk, they don't want to negotiate. President Trump and his administration don't want to negotiate, and they don't want to talk, they don't want to do this. What it is that they're looking out for Americans, bro. They're not looking out for illegal aliens. That's the thing. There's been so many things. Let me turn this down, y'all. I didn't even know the volume was up. I apologize. There's been so many things, y'all, that individuals have struggled with over the years. The benefits, the assistance that they need, and illegal aliens are getting it like this. Quick. I'm talking about quick. And that's what's insane about it. It's truly insane. Check it out. Speaker Mike Johnson.
Wasn't it just 6 weeks ago they were focused on making sure that illegal aliens got health care, Mr. Speaker?
No, they still are. Remember, that is still the counter offer that's on the table. I mean, they filed this back in mid-September. They denied the clean CR, which was simply, as we've all discussed, a simple 7-week stopgap measure. Just keep everything at status quo, which, by the way, Mark, we hate because it's Biden-level spendings and policies. That is all still in place until we get our appropriations bills finished. We ran out of time on the clock because the end of the fiscal year was September 30th. We just needed a few more weeks. And so we passed the clean CR. Every Democrat, every single one of them, voted for CRs over and over and over and gave impassioned speeches that had to be done. They did it 13 times into the 4 years of the Biden administration. And so when we put it on the floor, they rejected it, and their counterproposal was exactly as you said. They wanted to spend. This is their condition. This is their ransom for keeping the government open to work for the people. They want to spend $1.5 trillion additional dollars in totally partisan spending demands, and that includes, you said it, they want to reinstate free health care benefits for illegal aliens to the tune of about $200 billion. They want to spend $500 million to prop up liberal news outlets. They want to spend billions of dollars in wasteful foreign country spending on all sorts of social programs. All the stuff that we cut out of the budget in the big beautiful bill, they demanded to put it back in. They know we're not going to do that. It never was possible. And so they decided to shut the government down because they calculated one thing overall. They're more afraid of the rise of the Marxist radicals in their party than they are hardworking American people, because they believe the Marxists and the radicals will bring more pressure to bear than the people themselves. And so they decided to shut the government down to give themselves cover with the radical left so they can keep their jobs. That's what all this is about at the end of the day.
Definitely messed up. Definitely sad. Definitely messed up. More so of them thinking of themselves. They're showing people every day that they care more so about themselves and not the American people. I mean, it's common sense. And I'm going to show y'all more on that as well. Trust and believe. I got it all. This is Senator Rick Scott. Is now working to suspend paychecks for members of Congress, which I know a lot of y'all do agree. A lot of y'all do support, because I have been having a lot of people in the comments, a lot of people that I've been seeing on X that are, in agreement of this. But says here, Rick Scott is now working to suspend paychecks for members of Congress during this government shutdown. Check it out.
If you didn't do your job in business, you didn't get paid. You don't show up and do your job, you don't get paid. Why are we getting paid? We shouldn't get paid if we don't do our job. We need to figure out how to work together to get our budgets done. It's as simple as that.
So you're going to offer legislation to not get paid during shutdowns?
Absolutely. I already have a bill. We've got a bill that we don't get paid during the shutdown. Ron Johnson's got a bill that will never have shutdowns. That should pass also. But on top of that, what are the Democrats doing? This is a clean resolution. All we're doing is keeping the funding. Actually, the funding is too high. It's still the Biden funding. But I don't want to shut down government, so I support it. But the Democrats, they want to shut down for whatever reason. How is this good for the country? Nobody wins with a shutdown.
Exactly.
If you didn't.
Exactly. One thing about it, and I know a lot of people, again, you have so many people that's in here and saying, that it is, a great idea. They agree. And I absolutely do. I truly agree with it. One thing about it is I bet you if they were to suspend paychecks, they'll be moving totally different. So one thing about it, glad they're doing that. Check it out. More from Speaker Mike Johnson of what I wanted to show y'all. Check it out.
The Democrats right now fear the far left activists more than they fear air traffic controllers, Border Patrol agents, American service members, and so many others missing their paychecks. They fear the Marxist insurgents like Mamdani more than they fear families and children going hungry from lapsed benefits that keep food on their tables. They simply fear losing their own political positions next November if they don't appease the angry far left base right now. And they will appease that base at any cost, no matter how much pain's inflicted. In fact, they've said in their own words, this gets better for us day by day. How does it get better? Because they're proving to the angry far left base in their party that they will prioritize them over the American people. And simply put, it's the profound fear in the Democratic Party that drives this shutdown. It is not principle. It is not policy. It is certainly not concern for the constituents that they say that they want to represent. We know that because even their own constituents now are begging Democrats to stop the political games and reopen the government. Just yesterday, the largest union of federal workers, the very people that the Democrats claim that they fight for, came out publicly and urged the Democrats to join the Republicans in passing the House's very simple short-term funding bill. Also, yesterday, the National Air Traffic Controllers Association began to put up flyers in airports to explain the real danger that is being imposed for air travel, air safety in this country, highlighting what the Democrats are doing. So
I absolutely love that too. I absolutely love that too. This right here is just it's and I've said before, this is something that, and I haven't been saying that I'm surprised about, certain things, but I'm actually surprised that there are, they're doing this, because there's so many people that are turning away from the Democratic Party. There are so many people. So I definitely would say that, and I don't know if they're not just seeing it or if they're in denial about it. Well, I'm sure they're seeing it, but there's a lot of people that are realizing on what they're actually doing.
I just want to say this simply to our Democrat colleagues. You have an off-ramp now. You painted yourself into a corner, but here's your off-ramp. The unions, the largest unions, are saying, please do this. You can claim that as cover and say that you had to do it. Reopen the government. Get it working for the people. It's our number one priority and responsibility as members of Congress.
I'm telling y'all. I'm glad obviously, it being, that priority, I don't think, obviously the left is taking it as that. They're obviously for themselves. And that's exactly why, bringing me to this other link of them working to suspend the paychecks of members of Congress, during this shutdown. And I guarantee that'll definitely get them, to move. But one thing about it, you have Vice President J.D. Vance says that the U.S. military troops will be paid this Friday. I'm sure. So they'll be paid this Friday. And trying to find different other ways for them to get paid, in the future. Check it out.
Will the troops get paid on Friday? Yes. We believe that we can continue to pay the troops on Friday. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to pay everybody because we've been handed a very bad hand by the Democrats. This is one of the reasons why you've seen some layoffs in the federal workforce. We do think that we can continue paying the troops, at least for now. But we've got food stamp benefits that are set to run out in a week. We're trying to keep as much open as possible. We just need the Democrats to actually help us out.
But nothing will shake loose until or if President Trump gets involved. Democrats say the president, not the vice president, should be engaged, and he should talk to Democrats, not Republicans. President Trump met for an hour with Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries in late September. There's been no negotiation since. House Speaker Mike Johnson defended the president. But that was a one-hour meeting where he basically said, here's our bill, take it or leave it. Yeah. That's not a negotiation. Yeah. Why, after 28 days, should there not be a negotiation?
Because Schumer has shown no indication whatsoever that he's changed his posture from that day. So talking with him and trying to negotiate is a waste of time.
And people know that. That's the thing. People know that. That shouldn't even really be a question. It's more so and when it comes to I truly don't get it. I truly don't get it. I know that I'm not the smartest. I know I'm not the smartest, but I feel like a lot of this is pretty much common sense. It's definitely common sense. I definitely say. And I definitely want to say, too, I've been seeing this alert, about, I think it's a hurricane or something, if I'm not mistaken, that's going on. I do want to say, prayers. Want to make sure I'm right first, but I'm pretty sure it is to make sure it's Hurricane Melissa in Jamaica, I believe. Yeah. Definitely want to say, that, prayers go out to them. And I'm mad that I even didn't see this. I seen it earlier and I didn't say anything about it, at the beginning of my video. So definitely prayers out, to the people, to the families, in Jamaica, around Jamaica. And just, prayers go out to them, anybody that's, around that. But y'all have it here. It says Republicans have received an increase in support from the American people during the Democrat shutdown. President Trump and Republicans are on the right side of history. So, as y'all know, as y'all see, this is not doing anything. But I'm telling y'all, having people leave the Democratic Party. Check it out.
Starting with Republicans, how has the shutdown seemed to have affected their political standing?
Yeah, you might think, given that the Republicans are in charge of both the House and the Senate, that a government shutdown might actually hurt the Republican brand. But in fact, it hasn't. If anything, it's been helped a little bit. Take a look here, the shift in net popularity versus pre-shutdown. When we're looking at the Republican Party overall, that brand actually up 2 points. That's within the margin of error, but clearly it hasn't dropped. Come over to this side of the screen. Look at the net approval ratings for Republicans in Congress. It's actually...
I'm not even going to lie. Every time I play a video of this dude, he's always geeked up.
Up 5 points since So what we're seeing here is the Republican brand in Congress has actually improved somewhat. compared to where we were pre-shutdown, despite the fact that Republicans control. And that's the math that John Thune and Mike Johnson are looking at is, well, hey, why should we give, and electorally speaking, when our brand has actually improved a little bit?
Now, we say their position is getting better. With whom?
Yeah, okay, with whom? So I think it's two groups that it's so important to keep an eye on. All right, changing the Republican Congress's net approval rating versus pre-shutdown. It's rallying the base for sure. Look at this, the net approval rating up 12 points versus pre-shutdown. But it's not just with the base. It's also with the middle of the electorate. Look at this, among independents. It's up 8 points as well. So we've got a situation here where Republicans with the shutdown are actually rallying their base, but it's also something that's not hurting them with the folks in the middle. If anything, it's helping them with folks in the middle. And this is the type of math that if you're Republicans, you like to see, right? Because something could rally the base but alienate those in the middle, or something could rally those in the middle but alienate the base. But the truth is, we're not seeing that. What we're seeing is the Republican brand has actually gotten better among independents, and it's also gotten better among Republicans as well, that Republican brand when it comes to those in Congress. So again, what's the electoral reason that Republicans would give in at this point?
And Democrats, of course, they have their eyes on the midterm elections. Yeah, we have elections 1 week from today, but what Democrats in Congress are mostly focused on are 1 year and 1 week from today from the midterm. So how are they positioned right now?
Yeah, so, I mean, look, the generic congressional ballot, which traditionally Democrats have done really well on, and if you look at this point back when Trump was president the first time around, Democrats are up 11 points. Look at where it is now. Democrats are ahead, but they're actually only up 3 points. This is, in fact, the worst position Democrats have been on in a generic ballot at this point in midterm when there was a Republican president in the last 20 years. And this is no different from pre-shutdown. So Republicans aren't losing on this metric either. They become more popular, and they're actually in a pretty good position for them historically when it comes to the generic congressional ballot.
Y'all know that I don't, and I'm going to let the rest of this video play. I just don't want to forget. So I'm going to let the rest it's only a few seconds.
This is a concerning number for Democrats, are you saying, Congress?
This is a concerning number for Democrats because it's considerably worse than they traditionally do in midterm elections when there's a Republican president.
Harry Etten, thank you.
Let me tell y'all something. Y'all know that I don't always bring up, black folks and y'all know I don't, as much as I don't really try to, but I definitely have to say this. I really feel like people haven't been coming together a lot, I would say, as much, but I feel like it has been a lot more than it has been. And I say this to say that I feel like before President Trump was in the White House, I feel like people were starting to, see what's really going on, see what all the hype is about. You have a lot of young adults, obviously in tune. You have, even young kids. But as President Trump has been in the White House and things have been changing, you have the Trump administration, the Republican Party that has gotten popular. I start to see so many individuals of my skin color even, that see people like me, that see people, the other content creators, off the top of my head, you got, and this off the top of my head, you have, and these are people that I actually talk to. You have Retro Steph, you got Half and J, you have OK Rick. You're having individual. I'm pretty sure Half and J still post. I actually commented on my video. I think it was yesterday, but with the individuals that those individuals I actually talk to, I love to see that people are seeing others that are putting out the truth, and it's bad to say this, y'all know I hate talking about, that, because one thing about it is that it's good, for everyone to come together, but I feel as if a lot of times there are a lot, and this is no excuse, but there are a lot of people that are, my color that have been afraid because of what, and who their family voted for or supported, just based off the color of their skin, and stuff like that. So one thing about it is that I absolutely love to see individuals, especially young individuals that, stay tuned and look and see, what's truly, going on, because it definitely is important. And as President Trump has been in the White House, there has been a really, really big turn in, really everybody. Really everybody. They're individuals that, are white that don't like Trump, or didn't like Trump, but do now. Same goes for black individuals, African Americans. Same goes for, Hispanics, So one thing about it is that I absolutely, and others, but I absolutely love it. I truly do love it. And I had to, get that off my chest and say that, because it definitely is amazing to see, things like that, happen. So I'm definitely grateful of it. Make sure you hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. Definitely appreciate every single last one of y'all for everything that y'all do. Catch y'all next one.